Hello. Welcome to our next chapter of our journey around the sun, our solar journey through the lunar cycles, and welcome to the new moon in Aquarius. Grab a cup of tea, get really comfortable. This is, I think, probably the most profound moon of the year as we begin to fulfill the prophecy of the human rise in consciousness, and using Aquarius's wisdom to align ourselves, to see the truth, to discover the blueprint for the greater good, for the greater of humanity, and therefore to rise ourselves in part of that whole. So I'll see you soon. Let's have a look at how people would rely on nature here in Ibiza, especially in the north. It's a little less civilized, so you get to see the remnants of the reliance. So we've got a beautiful well here. I'm going to go and sit over here if I can. That's where the bucket would have been hanging. I'm going to go very steady here and show you. Wow. Cannot tell you how deep that is. That is scary deep and empty of water now because of all the houses that are taking this source. But yeah, let's have a sit. Hey, how are you? Thanks for coming back. It really is a pleasure to be doing this work and enveloping myself in the cycles. And first of all, I want to just say thank you to our patrons who are making it all possible, to my coaching clients that are believing in what I'm doing and applying it in their own lives. So first of all, thank you. Because of you, I'm still on this island 13 years after landing here. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Aquarius is a fascinating energy. I think if I'd have been asked what it was years ago, I would have said quite fairy-like and... someone's whistling their sheep. I would have said fairy-like and dream-like and a bit Peter Pan or something. But when you get closer to living the real dream, I suppose, really coming back to nature, not living in your fantasy head, but living on the earth like something like a hobbit with this shepherd behind me, just to prove how rugged life here is in the north, sitting next to this amazing ancient well. It just becomes to get a lot more real, classic. And it makes me see just how tough and full of sacrifice a genuine dream life is. And as we come back to nature and have our spiritual awakenings, a lot of people find themselves just drifting off into their imagination, and I did that for a lot of years, with, wanting to create big things for other people and spending money and trying to be something, outside again. So we replace our struggle in a corporate world or a modern life with trying to create something big in our spiritual self. And I spent a good 10 years trying to do that, and then recognizing this isn't it. This is an inner journey. And yes, one day you'll share it, but it's got to start inside you. And I think this is what Aquarius teaches us most of all, is that there is a divine blueprint for humanity. And there's a divine blueprint for every single one of us. And I think if you've been following me for a while, you saw in December, as we shifted into Sagittarius, you sort of start to feel the freedom of being your real self. And, you know, the Sagittarius energy is very free and very wild and doesn't want to commit. And then you get into Capricorn, which is about, right, if I want to be this, I've got to put in some work. I've got to pay the price. And I know for myself, that means doing things, admin things, structural things that I avoid. Then you get into Aquarius and you're like, oh, Aquarius is the bigger picture. So this isn't just about our personal blueprint and our personal truth. And let's be honest, if it was, again, our ego would start to come up. And I think this is what happens when we first venture on a spiritual path. We replace that business, work, career, normal life ego for a spiritual ego. And if you really, really get into and study Aquarius, gotta get that out the way. It's like you'll never be happy, you'll never be joyful, you'll never be truly abundant if you're still basing your needs on the external world. Aquarius teaches us it's about giving, and it's about being much more humanitarian. And I could think my vision and my core values are humanitarian, but whenever I get close to success, I realise it's my needs I'm trying to fill, you know. So I love Aquarius because it sort of takes us through a car wash in a way of like, who are you doing this for? Yes, you're part of the whole, but it's not all about you. And when you're on this journey, it very much is about cleansing that spiritual ego over and over and over again, and recognizing that you're just this tiny, tiny piece of the whole, and that you have a unique place. Yes, you have that blueprint, but it's equal to everybody else's blueprint, and without you, the whole puzzle can't be completed. Bear, oh bear, Aki, bear. Oh, he's going really close to the well. Oh, no, come here. Wow, that is a long drop. I've never seen such a deep well, actually. Come here, bear, and say hello. Do you want to say hello? Come on then, come up here and say hello. It's just to you. So yeah, Aquarius is basically the car wash of the divine plan of the universe. It's like, get yourself out of the bloody way. Recognize your part in the whole. Equalize yourself with everyone else. And I actually went and got a takeout coffee this morning just to show you the balance of living a natural life and me still missing part of that old life. And I think Aquarius for a modern woman or man is about that. It's about, you know, we're entering the age of Aquarius, and it requires that we balance the ancient way with the modern way. So I apologise that this is plastic. It has got a biodegradable badge on it. It's from my local cafe. But it's like, okay, I want to bridge back to these ancient values. I want to know where my water's coming from. I want to know where my fruit's coming from. In fact, I want to pick my own fruit. I want to dig my own vegetables. I want to recognise that a lack of rain affects my crop. I want to know that a lack of sun affects the grapes. It changes every year. Those seasons, we're so reliant on the weather and the fluctuations of the weather. So it's a cleansing moon. It really, really is. But it's about balance. One of the things that brings us back into balance is seeing the bigger picture. So looking at ancient times, looking at modern times, how can we bridge that gap? How can we calm our own ego? I don't know what your ego does. You know, mine has tried to be a spiritual performer in a way, and you know, you just see that these external goals, and then retreating into lack, going into too ancient ways of suffering, I suppose. It's like trying to be so free and then getting so restricted in the cocoon. And so whatever your ego has you do, You know your truth by now. You know your truth, and you know what you've got to do to get there. But perhaps what could correct your course is Aquarius. So what can your ego gain from Aquarius to ease itself, for it to reconnect to the bigger picture? What is it that causes you pain when you're in your ego, that you're trying to get your needs met from, that is not working, that could be healed by coming back within yourself and asking, what is my part in the bigger picture? And could, by trusting the bigger picture, I heal my heart, I heal my mind, yield my desires and needs that are based on pain, recognize that the only real nourishment is going to come from giving my gifts, and then perhaps, tone it down in yourself, tone down any sense of victim, any sense of wanting to be really successful, which is just this swing that I've suffered from personally. So whatever your version of this is, how can you crack open, as we're moving towards the spring, how can you crack open and receive this moon by honouring the gifts that you have to share for the whole? And how in really sharing them, that you're in your heart, not your head. And that even if you're at the stage where things aren't completely into fruition, that you can really be humble and recognise that I'm exactly where I need to be in the ongoing journey. I'm one of many. I'm one of billions of people all doing my best. And who am I to knock myself or try to elevate myself, unless I don't see that I'm an equal loved part in this beautiful divine plan? It's as simple as that, really. Aquarius is a balancer of the head and the heart, and helps us to kind of take that butterfly view to look right over this gorgeous planet, this beautiful earth plane that I talk about. What level of reality are you living on that beautiful, gorgeous planet? Are you living in the centre of it, the gorgeousness of it, the heart of it, and saying, wow, what do I have to give? And then being grateful for everything you're receiving, including the really tough lessons. And I'm, personally always receiving the tough lessons to crack the nut. And they're becoming less tough the more I really just take them on board and accept them and say, wow, what is this giving to me? Because everything is giving to you. Everything is helping you balance your ego, your mind cocoon, to help you fly and see the bigger picture and come into harmony and to equalize and harmonize. And then you won't need to justify your existence, because you'll be in a kind of joyful, abundant state. Not necessarily just with money, but just seeing your connection opens this kind of internet, this web, where all your needs begin to be met in some miraculous way. I wanted to talk a little bit about two ancient civilizations that this has been bringing to mind for me as I've been reflecting on this energy. And those are the civilizations of Atlantis and Lemuria. And Lemuria was the feminine, earth-based, all-giving society, culture, that all they did was protect the planet. Above all else, above themselves, the planet was the most important. And they saw the planet as the god, the goddess. They didn't worship themselves. I'm sorry for the wind. The gods, haha. And then you had Atlantis, the more masculine society, who were very, very intellectual and clever and designed technology to make life easier, to the point that they I don't know if they blew themselves up. Who knows if these are myths or genuine civilizations. But both societies, by being extreme in one way or the other didn't continue and evolve. They both either washed away or blew up. And I believe this age of Aquarius that we're in, that's giving me goosebumps all over, is about us balancing this masculine and this feminine side that I see like wings, to balance the Lemurian giving, sacrificial, unconditionally loving at no matter what cost, balancing that with the Atlantean technological, you could say the internet, the car, quantum physics, really understanding the mechanics of the universe, to balance these so that our technology is based upon loving the planet, that our work and the systems and the goals and the values that we have are not just about us and having our coffee in the morning, but they're also about where's that coffee coming from? Where's that plastic going? Do I really need it? So Aquarius, I believe, is this time of the year that we get to set our barometer on this balanced state. Before we go any further and fruit and share our gifts, we're asked to car wash them, to recognise what is genuinely good here, and what is coming out of fear or need or greed or doubt or low self-esteem. I'll hold my hand up to having had a very low self-esteem and then looking like I'm absolutely fine. You know, these are two really crazy extreme emotions that drive us, and we have to correct them by looking at the whole and saying, I must be perfect because nature created me. Everything it created is perfect. This is the way we can balance ourselves with no denial, no matter what's ever happened to you in your life. Perhaps it happened for a reason, to bring you into alignment. Yes. So this divine blueprint of humanity, of which you are an intrinsic part, is the boss this month. And you're like a piece of the jigsaw, you're part of the whole, but our focus this month is upon the whole. The big, big, beautiful, gorgeous planet. Now, this requires sacrifice, and it requires discipline, and it requires a giving up of some things in exchange for genuine happiness. And I don't know what that might mean for you this month, but you probably know what those things are. You know the things that you go to for comfort, which end up being the things you beat yourself up for. Where could you replace those comfort pain cycles with nature, and respecting nature, and meditating on nature, and asking for guidance on your part in that puzzle, and asking for guidance on how can I bend to my knees this month and say I'm sorry for any ups or extreme downs that I have because of my self-doubt. Yeah, there's some work to do this moon. There's some work, there's some car washing. This vehicle of light can't shine if you're holding it back, if you're pushing or pulling yourself back. The Aquarius is an air sign, it's not actually water at all. So the car wash analogy is to help us wash away our overt imagination, and so Aquarius is the imagination, which is why it can feel fairy-like and high. But it's also about humanity. So it's air-based, but it's air-based on seeing the whole picture. So how can you tame that imagination and use your intuition and your higher wisdom to cleanse away any darkness, any shadow that holds you back from giving your peace, which will give you the most happiness you've ever felt, to correct this imbalance in yourself before you then move forwards and really create as we go on through the next few months. How can you balance this Atlantean Lemurian part of yourself, this feminine, masculine part of yourself, and just give yourself to the whole. Just devote yourself to the whole. And if you're worried about your needs being met, just affirm, all my needs are met. The universe is taking care of me. And I receive everything that is for the highest good of all. And you are one of the all. So let yourself go to this higher plan, this divine vision, and allow the universe to reset you this month, to really reset you. I'm so grateful to be spending this time with you. For those of you that were observant, you may notice that the light changed a little bit during this video, because halfway through this talk in the forest here next to the well, my battery went, and I decided to go home. My doggy was quite hot actually, it was really hot yesterday. So we went home and I downloaded all the videos, had a look at everything, and decided to come back today on my bicycle. The light's different. But that's one of the sacrifices. It's like, did I give up? Maybe the old part of me would. Or it would have rushed back on the same day, hot and tired and drained and beating myself up for the battery. No. I went home, had a look through everything, gave me a chance to reflect. I was quite grateful that the battery went. And then I've come back, topped up my coffee from home this time, saved some money, and we're back at the well. So yeah, that is sacrifice, that's discipline. And it's Saturday today, where I don't normally work as such, but I've cycled here on my bicycle. I'm going to let you cycle back home with me. And it's gorgeous, a little bit windy, so I apologise if it's been a bit bustly. I didn't expect the wind. It's only like half a mile from where my house is, but it's not windy at home, so I'm apologising if it's blustery. I wish you a beautiful Aquarius moon. You are destined for beautiful things that suit your nature to the ground. And as you lift your heart to the sky and you plant your feet on the ground for the greater good, all your needs will be met. And they always have been, even though that can be a tough pill to swallow. So, cheers to you, sending you love, and I'll meet you on my bicycle. So much love. Thanks for flying with me.